Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about today is the fact that it only keeps getting worse for the gun controllers in Illinois because we have active sheriffs, 90 of them, who are now coming out and saying things like the new assault weapons ban and registration is a suggestion. It is a recommendation, not exactly enforceable. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and you guys are going to love every second of this. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We would love to have you spread freedom, and thank you for that consideration. And while I'm kind of floating around the idea of spreading the freedom that we talk about all the time, if you guys want these clips and you want to take clips of my show and you want all the sources, it's all there. Make a short, react to a clip. If you think something strikes, this is about force multiplication, and you are more than welcome to do it. I don't know why it just popped into my head. And this episode is a really great example of why I made the shirt, Restraining the Rights of the Legal Enhances the Power of the Criminal. It's linked right down there. If you believe that message and you want to wear it, check it out. I'd love to have you support the channel. But now, let's get into this, because this right here, guys, this is that goodness. Let's get the first clip.
Jefferson County Sheriff Jeff Bullard says the law is more like a request until the Supreme Court determines if the law is constitutional.
The fact that 90 sheriffs have declared that it's unconstitutional, including myself being one of them, and stating we won't be enforcing it.
So 90 sheriffs aren't going to be enforcing your ban that's coming up. You thought they were just going to come around. Well, turns out 90 of them still aren't going to enforce your ban. And now they're openly saying on local news sources that it's more of a recommendation and a request than an actual law until it goes to SCOTUS. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. And this is one of the reasons I'm going to hit this piece right here. If it's just a recommendation until SCOTUS rules on it, there's no pending litigation for SCOTUS for this assault weapons ban. It went to the 7th Circuit. They said it was constitutional, and the SCOTUS did not get involved. So is this just not going to be enforced in perpetuity? Is this going to be the biggest egg on your face for the gun controllers in Illinois ever? Because it's not like this has a determined endpoint of 6 months out. There is no action at the SCOTUS level for this ban. So where does that leave us? Because he just said it's a request until the SCOTUS reacts. And 90 sheriffs across the state are not going to enforce it. And the registration is due in 2 days. Yeah. Let's keep going, because he's got even more. This guy, like, wow. Go team.
And at that point in time, then a person's FOID card can get revoked, and possibly their concealed carry license if they have one also.
So the reason that I put this little tiny part in here, this speaks to something bigger, and this is something that's a much broader fight. But he's talking about the consequences should he enforce it. Now, he's openly saying, I'm not enforcing this, okay? And the last clip here, I'm going to show you something else. But anyway, he's talking about the FOID and the concealed carry. And now, if you guys know anything about the law in Illinois, you have to have a FOID card in order to actually buy a gun, okay? So to own a gun, you have to have a license. So the state is issuing a license requirement on your rights as a Second Amendment, as a citizen in utilizing the Second Amendment. The big problem in unconstitutionality with that thought process and scheme is you've got a citizen, the Second Amendment rights, and they're putting a license that they can take away right there in the middle. They are basically making themselves a gatekeeper between the citizen and their rights. That's the problem. So now this is highlighting the idea is like, well, the FOID card can be taken away. It can be stripped away. So effectively in Illinois, you can lose your ability for gun rights just because you don't have a license, not because you're a felon, but because you don't have a license that the state issues. Therefore, that doesn't sound like a right. That sounds more like a permission slip from the state. That's not a right. Anyway, that's a very important piece here, and that's kind of as we go further. But this next piece, this is the interesting part. I think this is fascinating. I think this is going to eventually unravel this whole scheme in Illinois. But listen to the third part here. I think fascinating.
And if they charge someone with this gun control act on top of a violent crime, we'll house that because they committed a violent crime.
Bullard says he doesn't think the new law will stop violent crimes.
What I've seen work time and time again is aggressive policing, aggressive investigation, aggressive prosecution, and judges who sentence appropriately.
So basically right there's two pieces. One, he's saying that, you could just enforce the law and have aggressive policing and aggressive investigation. And even the gun controllers in Congress and the local and the federal level, all of them have said it's the smallest minority of criminals causing all the issues. But yet they want to focus on the gun rights of the entire population. They always want to do that. Again, the shirt that I mentioned, restraining the rights of the legal enhances the power of the criminal. That's why I made the shirt, because it's such a poignant statement. It's so obvious. That's what they're doing. And that's why we wear it on that shirt. But anyway, the big thing here, it's about investigations. And then the other thing that I want to bring in there, they are going to enforce this law if there's a violent crime attached to it. It just became a tack-on offense. That's what he just said. So if you're not familiar with that concept, the concept is, well, you were involved in a violent crime, so let's see everything that we can throw at you to increase the likelihood that you'll stay behind bars. So if you, committed an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but you also had unregistered ARs, and this is what he's saying, then they're going to charge you for that as well, and they'll house it. But they're not going to go out and seek it door to door and check on that registration. That's effectively what he's saying. It's a tack-on offense. And that speaks to something, and this is the part of the video that's conjecture. The second that you start losing FOIDs, the second that you get people starting getting consequences for these laws where they can't have their rights because of an unconstitutional order, that's when you're going to see some SCOTUS action. So someone's going to get pinched. Some people are going to experience consequences. And over the years, the court system is going to realize that this is a problem. And that's what's most likely going to happen. But for now, the sheriff says it's a request, not a mandatory, which is kind of funny. And you got 2 days till registration, and only 15,000 people have done anything. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.